Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 188? No, 85.
85.
Is that actually right? 185.
Yeah, I put that in there. So
Excellent,
sure,
thank you. I was highlighting the entire thing. Anyway, so I am Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sinetsky. Hello, sir.
Yes, that's me. Hi.
Getting a late start to the day, but how are you?
Good. Well, actually, because we were late, I was able to go to the liquor store and buy the beer.
Which I hope you will introduce once we get to that
yes,
section.
we will.
Excellent.
But because I was running late, because you were running late, because people from up north are rude.
They are.
I actually am totally fine because on my way here, I was able to see a Peugeot 505 wagon.
Ooh, that's wagon even.
Well, 505.
505.
Okay.
Yeah,
was the sedan a 504?
Yes.
Okay. My uncle owned one of those brand new.
Very cool. I've got another story about
was that a generational thing? Because the previous was that the differentiation between 504 and 505 is just body style?
A sedan versus wagon, same
sedan
vintage.
versus wagon.
It was like early 90s Peugeot when they
Vol-
brought them here.
Volvo did the same thing as well.
Yes.
So,
240 versus 245.
yeah, exactly.
I want a Volvo 239.
The nine door.
Sure. Yeah.
3
Hell,
liter.
actually, you know what? Yes, I do want a 9-door Volvo. 8-door wagon with a...
Perfect.
Sorry, I need to excuse myself.
But anyways, I saw Peugeot 505. I saw a Morgan 3-wheeler on 94. I saw a Tri-5, a E46 ZHP sedan. And it was a wonderful drive because I was graced by wonderful cars. Oh, and a manual SLK 230 compressor. I knew it was manual because the driver was having a hard time and it's just bouncing the rear end off the ground every time they shift gears.
Oh, that poor car.
Compressor with a K because German.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
So I'm not mad about that.
It compresses air harder when
Yes.
you use the harder consonant.
Yes.
We also have a guest today.
do.
We have a third voice. It's not Jana. Jana is not turned into a man.
This mixer does not have a voice changer, so yeah, I'm very sorry, but...
However, is a friend of Jana and mine.
Hey, and
you,
a mutual friend of mine anyway.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough. This is Dylan Anderson from Mankato. He is a collector of...
Oh, that was smarmy.
Yeah. He is a collector of really oddball cars.
In a good way.
We mentioned
None of
him,
them are worth anything.
It doesn't matter.
It's true. We mentioned him on a previous episode. We were talking about his Mustang.
We did.
So I asked him to come on up and talk to us about weird cars because he totally fits the whole Carbitrage ethos of just weird crap. So there's that. But before we get to Dylan's whole spiel,
We have two things I need to cover.
yes.
Well, actually, one thing you need to cover, one thing I need to cover. So I'm actually going to do them out of order. Screw it. Head on
Yes.
over to patreon.com/carbitrage. Patreon.com is a mechanism for content consumers like you to support content producers like us. We have two open-ended levels of very minimal support, which just essentially helps us buy beer and pay for the hosting costs of the podcast if you'd like to. If not, no big deal. Head on over to patreon.com/carbitrage. Next up.
Next up is the beer that I bought.
Yes.
So I bought my literal favorite beer in the world. It is La Doña Cerveceria's Doña Fria, which is a Mexican lager, effectively an extremely classy Corona or Tecate.
Oh, I love Tecate.
Yeah, it's the same kind of style. It's Mexican style lager. It's a little bit like pepperier of a normal lager. But why don't you
So
crack it
a
open?
white person would find this spicy.
You know, you could
Like
almost
ketchup.
say that. Yeah. Yes.
Feel attacked. No, just kidding.
It's got a different flavor profile than your normal German lagers. So why don't you take a sip of it and tell me what you think?
Well, I'm still finishing my Heineken because I erroneously had this handed to me when I got down here. So
Yeah, it's so good.
I will interject in whatever part of the episode we happen to be in when I inevitably open mine. That you look like you just arrived. You did a number 3 in your pants.
I did.
Okay.
I bought another 4-pack just for my house.
Excellent.
So-
When you interject, can you interject like Flavor Flav does?
No.
Okay.
I do not own a clock on a necklace, so it really wouldn't be the same because we
Also,
do.
it would be so deafening in the microphone. It would sound horrible.
That's true.
I would hate to be the producer for Public Enemy where they just have to have like Flava Flav's
Yeah.
like mixture just like off
Yes.
pretty effectively.
Also, I need to plug
Trying
Jenna
to
real
balance
quick.
that in the studio.
Yes.
She bought me an absolutely lovely, seasonally appropriate shirt that says pumpkin spice or
Pumpkin
spice,
McKin.
and it's a picture of a very dark cat with a pumpkin spice
So
latte.
many consonants.
It's all yeah. It's like
consonants.
It's just all consonant.
So actually, speaking of
Yeah.
German. Wow. I learned something about German. It's actually something I knew, but I just like knew exactly how it works now. When you have those ridiculously long German words,
Yeah.
they're actually replacing adjectives. So if you say like a word like Gemütlichkeit, means
How many backwards R's are in that?
Gemütlichkeit is actually comfort food, but it is that's a German word for comfort food.
Of course it is. Why would it have 9 syllables and sound angry?
Well, because they say that instead of saying food that provides comfort and warms the soul.
I want to see a comfort food chef from Germany go head to head with a comfort food chef from Louisiana.
And see
And
what
see
they
how
can
they
bring.
mesh.
Wow.
That'd actually be pretty
The food
awesome.
would be amazing, but
Like,
the
would you-
communication would be non-existent.
Like, would you like to have like?
Isn't sausage gumbo a Louisiana recipe?
Yeah, it is.
That'd
So
be. You could have some
actually-
German input there.
Oh,
You
yeah.
could do that. It'd actually be really good. So you do a sausage gumbo and you use the chili ketchup that they have in Germany.
Spicy.
Yeah, the spicy ketchup, and then you use like the spicy sausage. That would be.
Can we have the
super awesome.
super attractive 50-something-year-old Indian lady help them too?
Padma Lakshmi?
Yeah, that
Yes.
one. Jesus Christ, that lady. Oof.
Yeah, she ages like wine. It's wonderful.
Very well, yes. All right, so Dylan, we have a series of very standardized questions that we have arbitrarily come up with while doing this podcast. So, seeing as I need to finish this beer in a rapid manner, I'd like
Yes.
Ryan hopefully to start us off
Yeah,
with the first
I'll
one.
do that. So let's do a brief bio of kind of who you are.
Okay.
And kind of what you drive.
No pressure
Okay.
though.
Because you've had I've known you for a while,
Yeah.
and you've not had anything normal in your
No.
driveway ever.
Nor have I had anything for a very long time.
Yeah, you turn over cars very quickly.
They're all junk.
Is it voluntary turnover, or they just like cease to exist?
I'm sick of working on this. I'm going to cut my losses or gain the $200 that I'm going to earn in profit and
Excellent.
part ways.
So let's what do you have right now?
Right now, I have
We'll start with what's parked outside.
what's parked outside. I have a 1975 Ford Mustang II, and a dog.
Oh, yeah, we have a puppo. We have a puppo in studio today. He's getting so many scritches.
How much detail am I going into on each of the vehicles I
Do it.
currently own?
We're gonna have a whole episode.
Yeah, we
based
got a
on
whole
you, so
episode.
just
Oh,
do it.
wow.
Just you, yeah.
Okay.
So
Goodness.
that's how we do our guest episodes. Maybe we'll throw in some small news. at
We
the
have
end,
stuff in case the guest is boring, but you're not boring.
or if the guest just doesn't have a lot to say, if they've just got like a short spiel.
Oh, I'm here to plug all kinds
Oh
of stuff.
man,
so.
Corey also provided excessive beer.
I gave him a lot
Coors
of cash.
Banquets are excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually, not a bad beer. Yeah.
I'm like, buy $100 worth of beer. Here's $60 to cover my portion. So I see that they bought $100 worth of beer.
Literally about $100 worth of beer.
We have a big fridge. Might as well fill it.
So anyway,
Okay.
don't-
75 Mustang II, mostly stock. It's got a 2.8 liter Cologne V6.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of a funky little engine that we can probably go into more detail on. 4-speed manual. I 5-lug swapped it and put a cheapy Speedway big brake kit on the front.
very cool.
What?
Beyond that.
I have a question.
Yes.
How the hell do you 5-lug swap a Mustang 2? What do you OE parts, or is it like an
We just
aftermarket kit?
use SN
The-
203.
The secret of the Mustang II
No, thank you for using
is
hand
that
gestures.
it is you can get anything that you need for them.
Is that just because hot rods use all that front end garbage?
Hot rods use the front ends
Okay.
because they're very low profile AA arm setup. No
Okay.
strut towers to worry about. And the rear end you had either a Ford 6-inch or a Ford 8-inch. The Ford 8-inch, which is in mine, is just a scaled down Ford 9-inch.
Oh, cool.
And they were also present in the first gen Mustangs. So like tons of aftermarket support for the rear end.
Is it a bolt-in from the front center section then?
Yes, yep.
That's very cool.
It is literally a scaled down 9-inch, and they're plenty strong. They can handle 300-400 horsepower to the wheel.
Nice.
Very cool,
Well, that's
actually.
kinda
Pretty
cool.
decent.
I actually had no idea they put the Cologne in that. I figured all of them
Yeah.
were like Miser 4-cylinders with little baby carb reducer whatever plates.
They had the 2.3 liter Lima 4-cylinder, the 2.8 liter Cologne V6, and then 75, 78 you get a 302.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
The
You could get a
75
proper engine in a Mustang too?
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't proper.
It was the King Cobra though, but I mean, like that's the thing. It's the 302.
You could get base V8s
Yeah.
even.
Oh, really? You can get a base
Yeah,
V8,
in
so-
any trim that was the era where you could option the car as you wanted, basically.
But I mean,
Gotta get that true coat though.
the King Cobra, the
Absurd
one that
cars.
like totally pissed off Carroll Shelby. That one, that's the reason why Carroll Shelby like went to Dodge, just because the Mustang 2 King Cobra happens to be like if you want to set a quarter-mile time in Forza like with a muscle car, you use that car because it doesn't weigh anything.
Yes. It's light
And
and
it's
it
got a
probably has a
V8.
big engine. Yeah,
It's already
okay.
got a V8, so it just gives you other V8 options. So, yeah.
Even the 302 automatic cars only weigh like 3,200 pounds.
That's pretty good for a muscle car.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna say
Right,
that-
if you want to call it that.
A lot of that weight probably comes from the very weak but good, cast iron block.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
that-
yeah.
It's a muscle car in the same way that a Prelude is a Japanese muscle car, like or a
Sure.
Japanese is like a Japanese sports car. It's just like it's that weird one that's like, does it qualify? I mean, I guess technically,
Right.
But
The one interesting thing about, well, there's a bunch of interesting things about Mustang 2 development because it was a hard era for American automakers.
shocking.
Huh.
Fuel crisis, Japanese cars were taking off, all that. So,
Funny enough, I had a 280ZX in front of me in traffic.
was it brown?
Yeah, it was that one that came
It
in.
followed
yeah.
me up here. I saw it. I waved. He did not wave. So
Oh, he's just jealous.
if you're listening to this,
You're kind of a jerk.
Get some better etiquette. God damn it.
so the Mustang 2 was actually designed to compete with cars like that.
Okay, yeah,
It
I can
didn't-
see that.
It did not excel in doing so, but if you compare that to like the 70s Camaro,
Yeah.
70s Camaro is still like huge in comparison,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
a lot more of the traditional kind of muscle car vibe, whereas
Yeah.
this is more of like a subcompact sports coupe.
It's actually, I think that the Mustang 2 gets a bad rap.
Oh, absolutely.
Because of
yeah.
everybody. It's one of those things where it's like, if they gave it a different name, if it was
Yes.
called anything else.
Oh, so it's like the Mach E.
Yeah, it's like the
Yes.
Mach-E. Like if the Mach-E was called the Galaxy, I'd love
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
But
Honestly, even if it was just called the Mustang and not the Mustang 2, if there wasn't a differentiation,
I would give it a different name, like entirely.
I don't think it was necessary to, because even the original Mustang was based on a Falcon.
Well, it's true, but that's the thing is you're coming off of the Mustang Mach 1 of the early 70s. So you had
Yes.
the James Bond Mustang, which was like literally like a Ford Torino. It's huge.
Yes, absolutely. The 71 and 73 cars
The
are
biggest car in the
gigantic.
world.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've ever seen a 71
Yeah,
to 70.
there was a Grand Tour episode where Hammond had a Mach 1 in that
Yes.
era.
They're
That car is
so
big.
It's like
Big.
10 feet of nose.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, you're coming
I
from
wanna
that,
feel
so
safe.
it's one of those things where they could have possibly, but I think that just like Ford has this like weird thing where they like to reuse names, like and I don't know why they keep doing it, because like it's not worked for them ever.
No. And it's all about brand recognition, but people know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and so like, oh, here comes the Ladonia. I'm very excited.
He opens the can. He sips. And it's good.
That's really good, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I'm a half in, but. Oh, yeah. Oh. Ooh.
Literally my
Ooh.
favorite beer in the world.
Oh, that's very complex.
It is a really like the more you drink it, the more you're like, there's different things happening here.
Wow.
It's a summer beer that has the same complexity of flavor that a stout can have. Like, that's what that is.
What the hell was that?
Christ, that's a weird laugh track.
Nobody should be here.
I'm just watching Seinfeld outside.
Okay, so what do you have beside the Mustang 2?
Other than that, I have a 1989 Camry wagon.
Oh,
Very
nice.
cool.
Yep.
2.5?
2-liter.
Okay.
So my
Just 3
my
SFE.
friend TJ just had his Civic stolen for the second time, but the
Does he
first
want to
time,
buy my Camry?
well, this is the thing. He got a Camry.
Oh.
Is that a 5-speed?
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
So he got a Camry because the Civic got stolen for the second time, and this time they'd previously stolen the title, so now he can't report it as stolen because he didn't have a chance to title in
my
his name
God.
yet. So now he's like double fucked. He's like trying to get a hold of the previous owner to see if the previous owner can report it as stolen.
That's what happened kind of with my last IX, that red car.
Yeah. Like just like
I'm not getting into that on this episode because we got to focus on Dylan.
But I mean, like it's a nightmare. So anyway, TJ's new daily driver is a XV20 Camry wagon, the double rear wiper.
Oh,
one.
yes.
So
Nice.
very cool. So we are a fan of the Camry.
They're the car. I mean, really.
I literally wrote the buyer's guide on your car, so I love them.
Yes, I read that.
I love the V20 Camry. It
They're
is
really cool.
one of my favorite cars.
The 1MZ, sorry, the 1VZ FE is still, or is it a 2? Is it
Yeah,
2
it's a-
V?
it's
a
a one-
2VZ.
it's-
The 1VZ is the 3-liter single overhead cam they put in the 4Runner. The 2VZ is the 2.5.
Yes.
3VZ is the 3.0. So the 2.5 5-speed cars are freaking rockets.
I believe that,
They
yeah.
are so fast. Like,
That's
not
how-
even by 1989 standards.
But
like,
by modern,
you
like,
could
Yeah.
freight train people on the highway from
Yeah.
certain rolls.
One of the most normal cars I've ever owned was a 99 Camry with a 1MZ FE automatic
cool.
car. And still, the thing is, they're fast. They're uncomfortably fast for a very shitty 300,000-mile Camry.
yeah, no, seriously. It's, so like talking about like cars that like are muscle cars but aren't.
Yes.
Technically speaking, are muscle cars. V6 Camrys and V6 Accords
Yes.
are totally muscle cars.
Absolutely.
They have an
100%.
unnecessarily large engine and
Yep.
no supporting modifications.
Yeah.
I love it.
it's-
Like,
Are the brake pads for a 4-cylinder or the V? Oh, the same.
Same
yeah,
stuff.
it's all the
Like,
same.
But this car,
This car has
this car's fast.
this car is more than twice the horsepower.
Just turned 60 in 6 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, we designed the brakes for the V6 and put them in the 4-cylinder.
Oh, okay.
That's
That's the lexification.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't buy that, sir.
Well, the beauty of that car, the 99 one anyway, that's totally an ES300, just like
Oh, yeah.
down marketed
Absolutely.
to Toyota. But it probably did engineer the brakes for the ES300. So
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, the V20 Camry and the ES250 were the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
thing
Yep.
because the ES250 was a Camry Vista in Japan. So.
Yeah.
Hmm.
A clean 5-speed ES250, I think would be a really cool car
Yes,
to have.
absolutely.
I have seen literally in my life one clean ES250, and that was at JCCS.
All of the remaining ones are extremely clean.
That's good.
They're
'Cause
either dead or clean.
Yeah. Yes.
every time I see one,
They were U-Pole 10 years ago, or they're still in a Florida garage.
every time
clean.
I've ever seen one in Minnesota, it's been like completely made of rust.
Yeah.
But like, the car is like owned by like some dude in like northwest Minneapolis, like in the hood, and it is perfectly polished, and like the door is falling off from rust, but it's still perfectly polished, and there's like giant like rust holes like around the door handle, so you have to like hold the door handle in place while he opens it.
That's
But-
a Toyota feature.
Yeah, but they're always
Jam a
terrible.
fork in it.
But that's the thing. The dude that's driving it is always thrilled to have it. I've
Yeah.
never seen anybody unhappy in ES250. Like, that's just a good car.
That's a car I hated in the 90s, and now I'm just like, that is so cool.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's one of those things where it's like you get let down whenever you see ES because you're like, it's the one not rear-wheel drive Lexus. What the fuck? And then you're like, oh,
Like,
They're
even
I
still
guess I
really
get it.
good. Yeah.
this is actually a really good car.
Even Jimmy's 92 5-speed.
Yeah.
It's like, I love that thing. That
Yeah.
thing was super cool. That was a 3VZ, 3.0 car, but I was like, damn, dude.
They're really cool cars. So you have your Camry, you have your Mustang.
Camry Mustang, and I also have an 84 F-150.
Oh,
Just a regular old pick-em-up truck.
Is it a 300?
No, I've had several 300 trucks, though. We'll get into that. This is a 351 Windsor and a C6 automatic, and really clean structural. But the bed's rusty, and it doesn't run currently.
There you go. Sounds
So-
like something that would fit in your
Yeah,
wheelhouse.
slowly kind of.
The most reliable quote-unquote thing is the one thing that doesn't work.
Ironically, I keep having to scavenge parts off of that for my Mustang.
Perfect. So it's a
So-
parts car now.
Yeah.
Truck.
One thing about old Fords is that they share like 90% of the same parts.
That's good. I
Like
think that's why Ford hasn't needed an actual bailout yet.
Right. It's like, no, we,
They've skirted the edge of bailout for
Yep.
like the entirety of their existence.
Yeah, everyone else started shifting to parts bin. Ford's just like, yeah, we already do that.
Yeah, we've been, we've
that's
been
our whole
doing this.
thing.
Idiots.
Our cars have all been a bit shit, but that's the thing.
Yes.
Is all the parts are the same. We have one shit part that goes on everything.
Pleasantly mediocre.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
We'll make it very structurally sound and then fill it up with garbage.
That's exactly what they do.
That-
That has
that's-
been Ford's MO forever.
I love them for it. It's
Few
hilarious.
things slip through, but yes.
Yes.
By and large, that's the one.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe Ford, and that's a beautiful thing. Like
Yes.
we love pleasantly mediocre here.
Yes.
That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. That's my whole.
If I think of it,
my
I will
whole life.
title this episode Pleasantly Mediocre.
We should actually make a sticker that says Carbitrage Podcast pleasantly mediocre.
I'm totally fine with that. I have expectations set at a very low threshold.
Perfect.
I'm always thrilled. So
And the fourth car that my
about to
roommate and I
ask, so
basically share is it's a 1984 Oldsmobile Regency 98
Good Lord.
Brougham.
So you live in it. That's you and your roommate's house.
Yeah, we share it. There's a bench in the front, bench in the back.
And a bathroom and a shower.
Yeah, that's the bathroom and the shower are called the 307.
Oh, man. 0 to 60 and never.
They're so slow, but that is the smoothest running 36-year-old car
is
you'll
that
ever
a
be in.
BOP engine?
Yes.
Okay.
It is the basically smaller displacement of those. Although Oldsmobile was the last one to stick with it.
Okay.
They made Oldsmobile
like,
carries the
was it
title of the last
82?
carbureted American vehicle in like 1992.
Now Wagoneer beat it by 2
Yeah,
years.
actually, no.
Wagoneer was discontinued in 91.
94.
94, no.
So
You could buy a Wagoneer in 94.
I think it's
You can buy an
Olds-
XJ Wagoneer.
Oldsmobile had the
I will
line-
trust
the-
you on this.
Oldsmobile won the title for latest carbureted car available in America.
Yes.
yeah.
And then you are right about the Wagoneer 94.
It's 94 for
yeah,
full-size Wagoneer?
I think
yeah,
so.
it's really weird. Like they went like super late.
It doesn't
on that.
make any sense.
I
but
thought it was 91.
Ford actually won
It's either 92 or 94, but
the
I think
title
It's
for last carbureted car. Period.
Okay,
The Ford Ka you could get carbureted in 2003.
sure. Was that in Brazil?
No,
The
it was in-
base Ka?
that was in like the United Kingdom.
Okay.
the base car was a Carby?
Yeah,
Oh my god! Wow!
there you go. That is the,
Wow.
the last carbureted car that you could
This
get.
kind of one-upsmanship, I'm totally fine. We made this shittier thing. Yeah, I know. Like, was it 82 was the last year they really had like all segregated V8s, and then like the BOP hang on the longest
Yeah.
of the non-Chevy small blocks. But
Yeah.
it's like, wow, okay. But I mean, they were pretty solid. You can still
Oh
get
yeah,
parts for
they're
them. So
super durable engines because they don't make any power.
Right.
So they don't hurt themselves.
that's the thing in the cast iron head. So like 265 water temp is like, yeah,
Yeah, it's like whatever.
whatever.
You just
Soak it off.
overheat it and just
Yeah.
keep tightening the head bolts. It'll be fine.
Well, I mean, it takes like 30 seconds to swap a head gasket on one of those because it's a push rod.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But
Very straightforward.
that's interesting. Does it have a turbo 350 on it then?
No, it's got a what do they call it? 204R.
Oh, 200R4. God, I hate the 200R. Okay.
It's got some sticky solenoid in it that keeps it from downshifting correctly when it's hot. But
Sounds about right.
Other than that, it runs and drives.
Just put some
flawlessly.
Marvel mystery oil in there, so it'll tighten right up.
But there's actually a guy that goes out to Grove Creek that's got a two-door version of your 98 or whatever the Oldsmobile 88, the giant one is.
Yeah, it was
But
weird with Oldsmobile because in the earlier cars they were 98s and the later cars they were 88s.
So the
For
There
the
were two different
sizes.
models.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know, but like
different
that's
models,
how I
yeah.
have to remember that.
The 88 was a B body, so like
Yeah.
Chevy
Yep.
Caprice, Buick
Big
LeSabre,
guy.
whatever. The 98 in this era
Wasn't that a
was called a
GM10?
C body, which is like it shares a platform with like the Cadillac Fleetwood, and that's about it.
Okay.
That's
So
actually
it's-
really cool.
It's got 10 inches of extra wheelbase over a B body.
Oh my god.
It's a big boy.
Oh wow.
It's so much space.
I remember B is in big, but C is apparently I don't know. I'll have to find a shipping ship that starts with a C.
Container ship.
Yes.
The SS container ship.
That is insane.
Yeah.
By the way, there's a guy with a B-body coupe that goes out to Grove Creek. Actually, it's pretty quick. It's NA on nitrous,
Okay.
and I think it's actually got a 307 in it still.
Really?
It's got like I remember I was like talking to him because he came through. He was my parts guy at the very end when I was still working at Good Karma, and apparently it still has a 307. He just built the shit out of it.
Oh, dude, I would have left it
You
stock.
can.
If
Well,
it's
you-
well worn and the ring gap is opened up a little
Well, I
bit.
shouldn't say like
You can probably hit that thing
he
with
didn't
nitrous.
he didn't
for
do the
days.
bottom end, but like everything that you can unbolt while leaving the engine in
Sure.
the car, he put
Okay,
all that
so
on.
better heads and intake.
Yeah,
all
and
that
so he,
stuff,
like
yeah.
he's like, well, my brother's idea was when we were building this is that we just leave the engine in, we do everything else around it, as soon as the engine or the transmission grenades, then we put a 350 block into it
Sure.
in a 4L80. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense actually. But
Especially if it had a turbo 350, because like the 200R is a weak
there's
transmission.
no way
strong.
It
on
makes a
Earth
700 or a 4L60 look good.
You can build them to be very strong.
I can, but nobody
There's
does.
no way that this
It's a
is
very popular hot rodder transmission.
There's no way that this is a $200. 'Cause of course, I've always seen it run at Grove Creek, but and they don't have the times there. But
if it was an 81 or prior, I think it would have had a turbo 350.
it's like a mid-pack car. Like it doesn't get beaten, but it doesn't beat like the really fast cars, like the alcohol cars. But like most of the cars people drive there and drive back, like it beats most of them.
Yeah.
So
like that.
and it's also 307 block, which is hilarious.
Like the last of the GTOs, the G-body GTOs,
Yeah.
they had like a hopped up 307.
The 74, 75-ish.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Those are
I don't know
actually
that
my
much
favorite
about
ones.
them, but they're
Those are
really
my-
cool.
Those are my favorite GTOs. That was actually the last functional hood scoop that General Motors ever put in a vehicle. Yeah, it was in the 74 GTO. Because even though the hood scoop existed in the Transmero Bird later on, it was not functional. It was
we had the Transmero Bird, now we have the GT FRSB RZ86.
exactly the Japanese Transmero Bird.
But I gotta say, like, it's pretty hard to scatter even a fully cast bottom end if you do your timing even a little bit okay with nitros.
Yeah, and I think
Remember-
that's his thing is like he's just got like a really well tuned nitrous setup.
I mean,
with a
Engine
good carb.
Masters took it was a Chevy Performance.
It's a 305,
It was a
wasn't it?
cast 305.
Yeah.
And they made almost 700
Yeah,
horsepower.
insanity.
And it wasn't like it was a new engine, so it didn't have any wear on the piston rings. Like if you had one that had done 300,000 miles, like you could probably hit it with another 100 horse of nitrous.
Yeah.
So like that, it wouldn't surprise me if that thing could push 600 plus horsepower.
That might be what he's doing then, where he just has like, he just opens up the jets on the carb when he goes there, and then you just close them back
Well,
up
if
for
you
the
have
ride
a
home.
wet system, you don't even need to change the jets.
That's a
on the
good
carb.
point. Yeah, if it is a wet system, so you just have the little injector right there in the intake manifold. That's a really good point. Next time I see him, I'll have to ask him about his nitro setup.
Once
but-
COVID's done, hopefully I can go back out too. But anyway,
In
sorry.
2036.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
2036 once we've actually once we've evolved immunity.
Yes.
God damn it.
So
All right, next question. I'm sorry. Wait, you don't have a fifth car, do you?
That's all I've got for now.
you did a Bronco too.
I've had 2 Bronco 2s.
Broncos too.
Broncos Dos.
It's like Dos Equis.
I guess I have a motorcycle, but it's not a particularly interesting one.
What is it?
It's a 2016 Kawasaki KLR 650.
Is that
The
one-
only new thing I've ever bought.
That is a new thing that
Is that one of the crossy ovary one, like a
Yeah,
BMW
it's like
GS?
it's the budget basement GS.
Okay,
basically.
the only.
They're all over the planet. They're really good bikes, but very simple.
So I was actually describing this when I sold to good karma with back over Keith, who's like a giant motorcyclist. I don't care about normal motorcycles. I care about single-cylinder motorcycles. Like I love Royal Enfields.
Yes.
And like
I saw a
really
Himalayan on the way here.
very cool. That's actually
I want one.
that might that would
Dude, you guys saw way cooler shit on the way here than I did.
that has to be like that must have been imported in the last few months.
They have the. I called the Royal Enfield dealer in Minneapolis last
cool.
year
Good
Why the
decision.
hell do we have one of those?
because Himalayans are cool. That's
Royal
the only
En-
reason.
Also, because Royal Enfield is Indian and therefore is better. So,
Yeah. Have you seen Indian Roads? Come on.
What roads?
exactly. Like everything India makes is just better. It's just true.
Except for maybe that $1,000 Chinese electric vehicle.
That's the only thing that might be better. I'm sure if India made an EV, it would be better than that.
Probably.
But wait, so back to the Himalayan.
Yeah.
That they must have like just started importing those in the last year then.
They've just come into the States.
Yeah,
pretty
as I
much.
say, because like
And-
those, I was like really excited when I heard about it, and then like you couldn't get them. And as
Yeah.
like pre-COVID, before I bought a house, I was like kind of toying with the idea like I kind of want to get a Royal Enfield.
They're really cool, and they have like a couple squabbling failures, but you can make
Like,
them into
it's
really
Royal
decent
Enfield,
bikes.
of course it is. Like they're always a bit shit.
Yes, listen to the name Royal Enfield.
Yeah.
You know it's not going to be a completely Toyota ownership experience.
No, not at all.
They're talking about making a 650 Himalayan. I don't know if it's still going to be a single.
I would
but
if it's
Oh
not
my Lord.
if that is anything more than a single cylinder, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
not interested.
my
at
KLR
all.
is a 650 single.
That's all right.
The
I'm
reason
interested in
the
that.
reason
That's
I bought
cool.
it new in 2016 is because it had not changed since like 1987, and they just
And it's
updated
a
the
single.
body. Yep.
Oh, that's
Well,
awesome.
they
Thumper.
put EFI on it.
No,
No, it's a
carbureted.
carb
Yeah.
in 2016?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
until
gross.
they,
All right,
until
so
they discontinued
this
it.
isn't
They're
a normal.
super reliable
this
cars.
Does
isn't
a
though.
carb handle that?
It did in 1987.
I'm impressed they were able to engineer a 650 single in 87.
That's pretty cool.
That was like the dawn of the big thumper movement. Is like KLRs, XR650s from Honda and stuff like that.
So this is the thing. Now that I know it's a single cylinder, that's not just a humdrum motorcycle. That's a cool motorcycle.
Because
I'm on the
it's
opposite end of
inefficient.
the spectrum, where I am only interested in straight six bikes.
Well, that's what I mean. I either like single cylinders or I like ridiculous displacements. Like a Honda CBX is the only other bike I really want.
Or a BMW K1600S,
Yes,
which is
that's
the
true.
new version of that bike.
Do you remember that video of that Polish guy revving it and he just sits there looking at the camera, revving it for like
Yes,
10 minutes?
yes.
With his helmet.
I'm like, that cylinder head's probably 1,000 degrees now, but
The dude's just sitting there, stopped with his like camo pants on, looking at the camera. It's literally 10 minutes of going and doing nothing else. He doesn't move. He only moves his wrist.
and yet, it is one of the best videos of that bike on the internet.
I love
Amazing.
that video.
Oh, hey,
Hey,
Pupper.
little friend.
What's up?
So anyway, Berger, why don't you ask question number 3?
Okay. All right. So this was actually the origin question that we came up with for the guest, and it's very important. And
Okay.
we should probably move it back to number 1. But our question is, in cars in general, would you rather drive one that is very powerful and fast slowly, or would you rather drive a momentum car, so a very underpowered car, very quickly?
Momentum car.
Slow
Absolutely.
car
That is
fast
the
or
correct
fast car
answer.
slow,
Absolutely, yeah.
It's slow car fast. That's actually our vetting question, because if you say fast car slow, we move on to news.
Or fast car fast. Usually we throw you out and then we move on.
If you say fast car fast, say there's no option. You say fast car slow, and then I make fun of your stupid car show for the entirety of the existence of the Carbitrage Podcast.
Now we force them to change their answer,
Yes.
then we continue.
Yes.
That's genuinely what happens. But
Shame.
we've never had anyone actually fail to change their answer, so we
Yes.
don't actually know what we would do at that point.
I'd move on to news.
I think we would stop the episode and just call it good.
I would literally, we would turn off their mic and it'd be a news episode.
Good news! The Dacia Sandero!
I actually do have some good news, but it's not
Excellent.
about the Dacia Sandero.
Well, we're not quite to news, but do you want to do the next one? Next question?
Yes, I will. What got you into cars and or the car community?
Very easy question, not loaded at all.
I am into cars. I don't know about the car community.
Well, I mean, there's a community of weirdos. I'm sure you're on
Yes.
Brown Car Appreciation Society on Facebook.
No, but I need to be.
What?
I've
You're
had
not?
so many brown cars.
Every car you've owned is a shade of brown.
I am so disappointed. I mean, you're into at least. I mean, you have friends that are car people, so I'm going to call
Yes.
that car
Yeah,
community.
Sure,
still.
sure. As far as the inception of it, I guess my
That was a mediocre movie.
yeah. My grandfather was into cars. My dad was into cars.
I added you to the Brown Car Appreciation
Thank
Society
you very much.
Facebook page. You're on this, right?
Yeah.
All right, good.
I am actually a descendant of the winner of the first Indy 500, Ray
That's
Haroon.
actually very cool.
Yeah, I found that out last year. I was like, oh, okay.
Also-
So we're not all meth heads.
That's our pre-war bell.
Yeah, if there's anything pre-1945, you smack that.
So there you go.
Okay.
Also, did you know that the Duesenberg brothers actually lived in Minneapolis when they designed the Duesenberg Inline 8?
Really?
Yeah, their house still stands in St. Paul, and actually their factory was across the street from the KSTP building.
That's
There
very
you
cool.
go. More pre-war news.
Did you know that the first V8 engine to be used in an automobile was assembled in Mankato, Minnesota?
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
By me.
Do we have a bullshit bell?
Yeah.
Pre-war bell's getting a workout today. God damn.
Although weirdly,
Did you know World War One?
it happened. My grandfather and my father were into cars, just kind of your basic white trash muscle car people. But neither of them introduced me to cars because they were not around really when I was a kid. So it wasn't
were
until I was
Too
like
busy being racists on the track.
Hey, sweetie.
they were more busy doing meth.
Oh, well, that's a bummer.
Not functional anything really.
Oh, I see. That's the thing is, I've got an uncle who he doesn't do meth. He does PCP, but no, he does fine. I mean,
There's
he's been on Cops. Like, he does all right. For a while, he had more celebrity status than I did, so I was shocked. I decided I need to do better.
there's an episode of Law and Order SVU where Bill Goldberg is a guest star.
Yes.
And he's on PCP and he throws someone through a window.
I love Bill Goldberg.
Yeah. He's a guy.
Speaking of wrestlers, did you hear that Animal from Animal and Hawk died, unfortunately, so rest in peace, Animal. But the good news is now there is somebody to tag team against Macho Man Randy Savage in heaven.
We are so good at digression.
Anyway, moving on.
All right.
Moving on.
So, I mean, Ryan kind of set you up with the last one on
Yes.
car community.
Wait, we never got to actually who got you into.
Oh, honestly, it was kind of a spontaneous thing. I just kind of
Spontaneous.
gradually got into it, and being broke and not having the ability to
Pay somebody.
pay somebody kind of forced me to learn how to fix my own garbage.
Hey,
My first
same here.
Yeah, that's how he owns all of his cars.
Why I do Ferrari engine outs now.
My first vehicle was a 1997 V6 Chevrolet Camaro.
Wow, that sounds terrible.
Terrific.
That sounds really bad.
Bad Camaro, good car.
Is that a 34?
38.
I'm sure Tucker is. You can hear Tucker's elation from Wisconsin.
Yeah, it was a very basic 3800 automatic car.
Oh.
It was a bummer car, but I was young and it had, it got 30 miles a gallon and it had 200 horsepower.
The good news is somewhere in the world there's an MGB GT that's been ruined with one of those engines. Probably from your car.
Unfortunately, I think that car is still on the road.
That's
Well, if
shocking.
somebody took the
for
Dex
them.
Cool out of it, it probably is.
Yeah, they're good.
So what's
solid.
your favorite car show or like a local car event?
Ooh, I don't know. The only car events that are down in Mankato are
507 meets.
507 meets or like the Busters roll-in for the boomer guys.
That sounds terrible.
And I don't largely relate to either of them because I'm a young person that drives old cars.
Yeah.
So
you're like the Malays / Radwood.
yeah,
You were born in the wrong decade, sir.
yeah, I'm an old soul.
Me too. All of my friends are 65 or older, except for Ryan. And I guess
Pretty much, yeah.
as,
He's like 85
Ben and-
on the inside.
Yeah, exactly. If I could get away with a cane, I would have one.
Yeah. I would say, God, what would be a good show for you then? I'd say Wheels of Italy, because that's a good show for anyone.
Yeah, if Pazzaluna opens again,
Yes, if they start doing the good.
you would probably very much enjoy that show, though.
They put Countach's next to Fiat 500s next to
Good.
Maserati
That's what I
bi-turbo Minnesota cars.
That's what I want.
And they close streets of downtown St. Paul to do it.
It's a wonderful show.
It's very excellent.
That's the thing that I struggle with in cars, especially car shows, is because you go through and it's all these like perfect $100,000 builds and like
Yeah, nobody
Ryan and I
actually
don't
likes
care
those.
about that.
I
yeah.
just want
We
to
walk
see the
straight
original
past that.
junk that is here that
Like-
made it from when it was made to right now.
I have like a short list. That's the cars that I will actually stop and look at. That are like $100,000 cool cars, quote
Yeah.
unquote. But for the most part, I will probably walk past your Ferrari 348 to get to the Fiat 500.
Yes.
But I mean, like my short list is kind of like Countach, DB5, R32 GTR Nismo, Duesenberg.
I feel like we have recently discussed a lot of these vehicles
Yeah,
on the podcast.
but I mean, like, there's a very short list of cars that like I deem cool enough to be worth my time if they're perfect. But
The last car show I went to, which is very few of this year, there was an event or SVJ or whatever across from like an 84 CRX. And the CRX wasn't that nice. And I'm just like, oh, shit, yes.
yeah,
Walking
exactly.
over to that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, you can go look at the CRX.
I don't give a crap about your automatic Lamborghini.
Well, this is the thing. Like, listen, if I want to go see a whole bunch of automatic Lamborghini, like brand new Lamborghinis, I'll play Forza. Like, if I want to see actually cool cars, I'm gonna walk up to the actually cool cars. I'll walk up to the CB7 with the Xenon body kit at like Cars and Craft.
But unfortunately, a lot of the people that own that junk are not turning up to car shows anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer because I kind of like that. And that's actually why I like walking through the spectator lots because they're kind of
That's where I
some
park.
cool stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
you find a lot of cool stuff in spectator
You
area.
will find my E30 M3 in the spectator lot.
Yes, and then they'll be clamoring for you to move into the main lot, and you'll be like, I guess it's a shorter walk when I leave.
Pass.
Well, I mean,
I don't like physical activity. I will not do that. I will stay in the spectator lot. Thank you.
Well, it was that time that Drive Cartel had you bring your 355 in full of Pushins.
Oh yeah, that was worth it.
The giant Pushin inside of his 355.
All of their models.
Every
Yeah.
model at like the Drive Cartel meet just like all showed up.
They
That's
wanted
beautiful.
pictures. Yeah.
But
Pusheen fills up the entire
next time
car.
they do a Cars and Craft, probably 2021, you should come up for it because I
Okay.
think
Oh,
you'd actually
yeah.
like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those shows where it's like custom import stuff, but their curation is really perfect.
Sure.
And they actually get like really interesting cars that come in there. So like you'll have like your like Evo 10s and whatever, but you'll also have like a orange interior Volvo like
A twin-turbo
V70R
V10
wagon.
Ram.
Yeah, twin turbo V10 Ram, a V70R with orange interior.
Little Red Express truck.
Yeah, Little Red Express truck.
Dude,
a
there's some
bunch
good
of,
shit up there.
Okay.
Yeah, like actually cool cars.
Super small meet, very intimate quarters.
Yeah.
If you need a place to crash, I live like a mile away. You can stay in my guest room.
Yeah,
Okay.
he does have a
Deal.
guest room and lives literally within walking distance. So
It's easy to
Good,
swap
because I have
cars.
to push my Mustang.
now
Now you're just giving in to the meet.
it is time for the best question, the Mondial Challenge. Eric, I'll have you describe the Mondial Challenge.
So let me set the scene for you.
Okay.
It was 2017. It was the fall in Minnesota. I visited Southern California. While I was out there visiting two friends, I came across on Craigslist via one of my friends sending me shit at night, a 1984 Ferrari Mondial in metallic blue with Speedline magnesium wheels for $6,400. I clicked on the link, as one does, to find out that it had no engine or transmission because it very likely was purchased as a parts car to solve a 308 QV problem. My question, which evolved into the Mondial Challenge, is what engine and transmission do you pick which can contain an off-the-shelf, known existing adapter plate? Do you pick? It has to be transverse, because that car does not support longitudinal space. It can be essentially as deep as a V8 or an inline 4. What do you pick? It's got to make at least 240 horsepower, because that's what the
Probably
original
do a
powertrain
5-cylinder
made.
too, actually.
If it's a really small transaxle, basically anything you could fit in a front-wheel drive or a mid-engine
Sure.
transverse car.
Oh, goodness.
What do you pick to power that sucker?
And the thing is, so the
Ryan, give him your answer.
the Mondial makes about 240 horsepower. It's like a totally attainable amount of horsepower these
Sure.
days. It makes a cool noise, and it's not reliable by any sense.
Are you
so
saying
it's like,
that Yeti Morelli mechanical injection isn't reliable?
kind of shocking, I know,
Too
but
many eyes in that for it to be reliable.
it's true.
There's too much pasta in there.
So it really opens up your space to like weird engine swaps. So what I
Sure.
chose was a 12A rotary with a 4-barrel Holley carburetor, a AE101 Corolla transmission with an adapter plate, which is actually readily available. They make them in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
'Cause it's actually a weirdly common swap to put carbureted rotaries into front-wheel drive vehicles. Yeah, I know, but it actually makes sense because you make a ton of power, no torque, so you don't have any torque
Yeah.
steer. So
And you want your compact car to get 10 miles to the gallon.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I decided to do a street-boarded 12A rotary with a big carb on it, and I think that would be a perfect swap. It'd make an interesting noise. It would probably make about 300 horsepower or so easily, and it would be at least as reliable as a Ferrari. So
Sure.
that's what I would do. You said
I picked an 03 to 06 3MZ, so the 3.3 liter version of your Camry motor, with the 1MZ TRD supercharger and a
Sure.
Solara 5-speed transaxle. So
Sure.
about 400 horsepower, turnkey reliable, no worries.
Dang it. That's where I was angling.
That's why we preface it, so you can't steal our answers, because we have good. But we've heard a lot of really interesting stuff. So be weird with it.
yeah,
but
you can go as weird as you want.
as long as you're making about or above 240 horse and it
Sure.
fits.
And it fits.
And it has to fit, because we've had people come in so confident, like, oh, LS and a Boxster transaxle. I'm like, won't fit.
'Cause
Won't fit. That's longitudinal.
And they're like, oh!
It turns
So
into a
angry.
comic book with a bunch of weeby lines, and everyone's angry.
Does the Duratec share a bell housing with the Ford Show V6? The first gen.
The Vulcan does not share with the Duratec. No.
Damn it.
But you could run an SHO motor, which is based on a Vulcan.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be a cool swap.
What I would love to know is, like, I don't know what bell housing the V8 SHO from the Melty Marshmallow era, I don't know what bell housing that uses. Because if that was common to, like, an older Taurus, or maybe there's an adapter plate, because, like, that's a really cool engine.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Is it, are they modular-based engines?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But maybe.
I think they're based off an Intec V8 with a Yamaha head, if I'm not mistaken. No, actually, shoot. I think it's actually entirely a Yamaha V8.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
I think it's actually an entirely bespoke engine.
None of the Intec 4-cam engines had you need to weld the cams to the gears problem.
Yeah.
And you can find a really well sorted one of those, but the cams welded for like $6,500 these days. It's like,
that would be kind of cool, actually.
It would be, but they're all autos, and they're the Melty Marshmallow Tauruses.
They're really ugly.
They are pretty bad, but you could put it into a wagon.
Wagon is good.
What is the displacement of the Mondial from the factory?
It is 3.0 liters.
3 liters, 240 horsepower.
Yeah. Because the 328 went to a 3.2 version of it.
Could you do the 2-liter V6? How much horsepower does a MX-3 make?
The little Mazda.
Oh, well, stock, not that much. I think they're like 180.
That wouldn't be too much of a hit.
No, and I'm sure you could wake it up a lot with, decatted headers and stuff like that.
You could probably just do the Mazda Millennia supercharger.
Isn't that a 4-cylinder?
No, that's an Atkinson cycle V6 with a terrible fire. It's got that horrible Atkinson cycle, but you can just take the supercharger, I think, and put it on a normal.
Yeah, it's low pressure, but that would be interesting. Yeah, like
that would
MX3
probably
engine
that could get you to like 240, I bet.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, here's some options.
Yeah.
You can
we were
pick one of ours,
you.
or you can.
I've been too intently listening to actually come up with anything myself.
We can keep rambling. Trust me.
Yeah, I can ramble with more.
As
dumb
you
engines.
ramble, you're gonna take all the ideas I may have had.
So one of my favorites, anyway, from somebody else was the Alfa Romeo 3-liter GTV6 V6.
Okay.
With the later Brera 6-speed transaxle.
Were those not? Those were transversely mounted?
The Breras, they were, yeah. The GTV6s were longitudinal rear transaxles.
I suppose with the adapter.
No, it should bolt right on.
But
They changed the heads a lot, but the block really didn't change.
Just about everybody said K series, which is like played out, but it makes sense. But
LS4 with the GT40 was a pretty common answer.
Thought about that.
Nobody has said North Star, but I'm not sure if that would bolt to the transaxle, the GT40.
No, they had a
it bolts to the Fiero transaxle though.
Yeah, that bolts the Fiero transaxle.
GM has like 2 bell housing patterns.
Yeah.
For 50 years.
Yeah, BOP Chevy. There you go.
They've got 4, and they've got like 6.
Yeah.
Like bolts, and that's.
Is it the pointier one or the rounder one?
Yeah.
I got the pointy one.
North Star would be cool. They're definitely interesting, and their imminent failure is.
Yeah, they're
repairable.
as reliable as a Ferrari, so.
So there's still that little bit of tension because you don't want to be comfortable.
Yeah, if you get a junkyard one, you don't know if somebody helicoiled the block.
Well, I mean,
they did.
actually, you bring up a good point. You don't want to be entirely comfortable in this car because then you effectively just own a Fiero.
Yes. Okay.
You want to have that little bit of that anxiety that it might not work.
So what keeps coming to mind, and I don't know if you could even get this to work, but being that we were just talking about GM bell housing patterns, if they're the same, I would want to see a carbureted Rover V8 bolted to a Fiero transaxle.
I bet that would work.
Because the Rover V8 uses the GM small block
Yep.
bell
It was a
housing.
Buick motor.
Buick 215 originally.
Yeah. That would be very cool. And it's aluminum.
I
All
bet
aluminum,
you
lightweight.
it would probably bolt to an Iron Duke transaxle.
Yeah, that would
and
probably
wouldn't even
work.
break it.
Probably not.
That'd be great.
My question, 3.5 or 3.9?
Well, I don't know if you could get the 3.9s carbureted.
Oh, you're right. I think
But
you're
you could put a 3.9.
You can put a 3.5 intake
Yeah,
and
you can
carb
put a
system.
carburetor.
The 3.9s are still, they do still have a distributor, so you wouldn't have to run any weird ignition system.
So there you go. That's a good.
That's my suggestion.
There you go.
I
A Rover V8
very much
with
appreciate
a Fiero
that
bell
answer.
housing. That is a good one.
That's probably going to be a 4-speed as well. So,
Perfect.
So
Even better.
our next question. is actually what we call the Carbitrage Challenge, and this comes from the common issue of getting or similar into just increasingly worse cars, or you get a Turo and it's not at all what you expected.
No, it's not Turo. It's the Enterprise. It's the Hertz.
Well, I say, or you get a Turo and it's like it's a bit shit.
But still, like we're talking about rental cars when you travel.
So
Okay.
instead of renting a car, sometimes it would make more sense to buy a car and then drive it back and sell it for a profit. So let's say you go to California for, say, Monterey Car Week. You got about $1,500 to $3,000 to spend on a vehicle that you can bring back to Minnesota and sell for a profit. What would you get?
I've actually thought about this exact thing.
Perfect.
Literally.
You have your
in,
answer.
Brilliant
in California,
minds.
low budget, buying a car. And it would be. I even know the year.
And it is?
It is a 1991 Geo Prism.
Brilliant. That is brilliant. Is it the the GSI wagon thing?
It could be.
Yeah,
but
'cause they
it's
made
probably just a sedan.
They made that super cool fastback.
Bring me your leash. Bring me your leash.
There we go.
Causing a rumpus.
But anyway, that was actually a great suggestion that nobody has said, and that would actually be a car you could pull profit on.
It's
Oh, yeah.
It's cheaper than a Corolla.
Yeah.
Well, being a Corolla.
yeah,
It would cost $800,
yeah.
and
could
they never break. I owned one.
And you could literally sell it for more up here.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
You could
Oh,
totally
absolutely,
sell like a California clean one with a detail.
Yep.
You could totally sell in Minnesota for like $2,000.
And you would spend one straw penny on fuel coming home.
There's
That's
yeah.
true. A solitary straw penny.
Yes.
I owned that exact car in the worst condition you can imagine.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, and it never ever broke. I actually drove it up here the first time I
Yeah,
met you.
yeah, I do remember that.
What engine is in those? Are they the F
Oh.
series?
No, it's a 7A FE.
Yeah.
Really? In the 91?
Sounds right.
That is the 91 is 7A FE or a 4A
As long as
FE.
it's not a 2E or a 3E.
No, you had the,
perfect.
you
This thing
had
was
the A series.
Bulletproof. It probably was hemorrhaging oil out of the head
Yeah,
gasket,
it's
but
fine.
it doesn't.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Actually, there's one that's parked next to Hamburguesas El Gordo over off of Cedar. And have you ever been to Hamburguesas El Gordo?
That's a lot of words.
What does that mean in America?
Hamburguesas El Gordo means hamburgers the fat.
That's
and
true.
it is a accurate name.
That is
and
true.
you need to go there before you
Okay.
leave town.
Okay.
They make the greatest hot dog I've ever had in my life.
Oh, is that the place that keeps getting broken into?
No,
Give me the hot dog.
they've got. No, they've got one that's over off of Cedar and like 35th Street, and another one that's over off of South Roberts.
I will level with you. I don't know any streets.
I would go to the one South Minneapolis. It is, it's like Five Guys, but like literally dozens of times better. It is
wow.
quite literally the best hot dog I've ever had and the best hamburger I've ever had.
Okay.
It beats the parlor burger.
No
into that.
fucking way.
Yeah, it beats the parlor burger. It's that good.
I don't believe you.
Their bag fries are so greasy you will see through the bag. You can actually count the fries
If the
from
bag
the outside.
turns clear, it's your window to success.
Yeah, you literally can count your fries through the bag.
Wow.
Like that's how much fat is
I
on
may
this.
have to do that.
It is amazing.
Still don't believe you.
It is so
The parlor
good.
burger is so.
The parlor burger is one
damn
of the
good.
greatest pieces of human engineering. Actually, that bump off the Pyramid of Giza and put that
weighs-
with my five
It's
things.
definitely above the arch. I'm not sure about the pyramids, but like it's definitely above the arch and the aqueduct.
the Arc de Triomphe and the Roman aqueducts.
L'Arc de Triomphe has nothing on this burger.
The parlor burger is amazing. This is better than the parlor burger.
Send me the name.
It's Hamburguesas El Gordo. But
Send
anyway,
it to me.
so across the street from
He thinks I can
Hamburguesas.
type this crap out. I'm like, just look up like a Zenki Blaga do.
I could probably.
Anyway,
figure
so
it out, but-
Hamburguesas El Gordo, across the street from there is the world's worst E92 Corolla I've ever seen in my life.
love those cars so much.
I was sitting at the stoplight going to Hamburguesas, and I looked over to my left, and I saw the seat was kind of crooked on the inside. I'm like, that's weird. He has a broken seat. That's not common. And I looked underneath the car.
Punched
The
a hole.
seat's perfectly fine. The floor is crooked, and the seat is touching the ground.
That's gonna be an interesting pothole.
I've seen that car driving.
Dude, if you had a pothole with a seat like that, you would be shoved into your floor.
No, I think because the way it's like angled, I think it would shove you into the headliner.
Oh, so the back had tilted.
The back had tilted.
Okay, I was thinking the front was coming down. I'm like, that's like the drive shaft pole vault where it just like.
Yeah.
No, this one's like that back. You're like sitting like this. And
Ow.
I could.
Ow.
I can only imagine what the interior smells like. It's just wet. smells like wet
The
algae.
other thing about that era of Toyota specifically is that as far as California goes, passing smog with that era of car can be tough because there's 100,000 vacuum lines.
Yeah, and it's going to be perfect.
Yes, and everything is vacuum actuated, like weird stuff that doesn't need
Let's
to be.
be honest. You're going to find a car that didn't quite pass smog, and it's going to be fire sailed to you because you're registering it out of
That is
state.
exactly what I mean. And then I can drive it back to Minnesota and sell it as a perfect vehicle because it is.
Yep.
Yeah, it just the EGR valve opens 500 RPM rate.
Exactly.
My mom is currently freaking out because the EGR valve is failing on her diesel 3 Series. I'm like, that just means that it's actually healthier now than it should be.
What's the name of your car?
The Mustang?
Yes,
Margaret.
Margaret.
That is the name.
Not missing a beat.
that is the name of the original owner who.
No,
And-
this lady's not for turning.
And Margaret Thatcher.
Yes.
Obviously, your car.
Although I'm glad this is still alive. Not so much about Maggie Thatcher.
All right.
Shots fired.
Shall we play a game? Does anybody want to play a game together?
Sure.
Sure. We have a few minutes, I suppose.
Okay. So, I was on GooNet Exchange. I've noticed that there's always a bunch of weird named Toyotas that I don't know what they were. And
Ryan, what the hell is Goom Nut Exchange?
GooNet Exchange is a auction website for Japanese market cars that a lot of Japanese importers find cars at.
Okay.
I always peruse that to see if there's something interesting that's like very cheap.
Just
that
when
I
you
want.
need a quick wank.
When you need a quick wank. Anyway, so is that like a
SFW porn.
I was at like a super insufferable dinner party.
You could have just said dinner.
Pound
Yeah.
off in the back.
No, this one is especially insufferable. And so instead of saying they were being miserable, I decided to voice my frustration by looking at my phone for the entire night. Like literally the entire night. And so I was on GooNet and I started looking at what these random weird named Toyotas are. And I decided, I'm like, wow, I would have not imagined that's what that car is called. So we are going to have our names here for these cars.
Okay.
So the first one, what do you guess the Japanese market name is for the Toyota Yaris sedan? Eric.
I don't know any Japanese words.
It's not Japanese, it's just a made-up word.
4-door.
Okay, so just four-door.
So,
We call the four-door.
Yaris 4-door.
Or the Vitz four-door.
What about the two-door Yaris? Is it a two-door? Are we just
Yes,
going Ford
Vitz.
speak here?
Maybe?
And so what would you guess would be the name of the four-door Yaris sedan?
I'm
Oh,
glad
the
I didn't
sedan.
look.
I
Yeah,
forgot,
sorry,
I
it's a sedan.
I forget about the ugly little guppy that is the Yaris
Because
sedan.
it's actually a different car, weirdly enough. It was only called the Yaris in America, but it's entirely a different car.
Oh, God.
I didn't even look at this before I answered, thank God, because I have it open ready to put on the stream. My answer is not correct, I'll put it that way.
I have Toyota's JDM names are very odd, too.
They're really bad names.
I have no idea. We're going with Gilgamesh.
The Gilgamesh.
Much closer.
Very close. It is actually called the Belta.
Belta X.
Okay.
Yes, the Belta X. It's even got a fun little parking pole on it. I thought that was nifty.
It looks like one of those diplomatic flag mounts that doesn't have a flag on it.
It does. That's true.
It's basically a W140 S-Class made in Japan in 2006.
Here's one that I think is gonna be a little bit easier here. Now we kind of know with the RSX. What would you call the Japanese market of the Toyota Highlander?
I would call it the Gelato Big.
The Gelato Big. That's actually a good guess. What would you think?
They all seem to be like 5 or 6 letter words ending in A. So
This one's not.
You are
Okay.
much bigger brain than me.
oh God.
I will give you a hint. It is something that is terrible to say. It does not have a good mouthfeel to the word, and it is a poor name for anything.
Smegma G?
You should change your answer to that. It is as gross as...
I'm trying to think of what the Highlander's brand image would be in Japan too, because it would be like an F-150 basically.
Kind of, yeah. Kind of. You're not wrong. You're on the right kind of path. It's going to be a relatively manly sounding name.
Yes.
And it's going to be made up English.
Okay.
That isn't at all English.
We're gonna stick with G words. We're gonna call it the Toyota Grundle.
Grundle. Oh, it is called.
It has a G in it. It's called the Kluger.
The
V.
The Klugger.
Pretty close.
Mine had the V in it.
I know. You are so close. That's like you got really close to yours.
Smegma Kluger, same thing.
So since you
And it's in Gunma, Japan, so
Yeah.
that's pretty close to Grundle.
So actually, I'm gonna give you both one jelly bean for that. So
Okay.
you both win one.
I accept your jelly bean.
So it is currently a tie because you got at least the A in it and the V, and then you got the similar prefecture name. What is the name of the Japanese market Toyota Paseo convertible?
Oh, the convertible.
I will tell you, way cooler name than this car deserves. I will give you that hint.
Beta Star 2.
The Beta Star 2. Okay?
Cuck edition.
Actually, Cuck would be just a totally normal guess for a Japanese car name.
I'm gonna go with the.
It's hint. There, hint right here. It sounds like a Mortal Kombat character.
Really?
It does.
It really does.
I've looked at it since answering. So.
After the Viggo Mortensen movie, the Toyota Hidalgo.
The Hidalgo. All right. It is actually called the Cynos.
Okay.
That's actually a super rad
That looks
name.
like it has a
Alpha.
sinus infection.
Yeah,
I said
Cynos
beta.
Alpha. And yes, it does look like it has got a sinus infection.
Those wheels are dank, though.
If you
Yes.
look at the interior, it says one of the most 90s interiors of any car I've
Does it
ever
have
seen.
bus fabric?
Yes.
Please tell me it has bus fabric. Oh, it does have bus fabric.
Good stuff.
God,
Yellow
this is like a
and
Twingo
gray,
special edition.
yellow and gray
Oh,
bus fabric
yes.
with teal.
Just
It is
amazing.
Yeah. All right.
Finish him.
All right. I will tell you, this one will have the grossest name for any vehicle I've ever heard of.
The Avalon?
The Japanese market name for the Avalon.
Oh, God.
It is gross.
Which is weird because it's like such a sedate, comfortable, normal car.
Yeah. It sounds something along the lines of an infection with your butt.
Gilf Cruiser 6.
The Gilf Cruiser. All right.
That one is a little bit of a delay, but we'll accept it.
I'm going with the Toyota Proctalgia, which is
Oh!
which is the
You are
term
really close.
which is the term for random shooting pain in your rectum.
It is called the Pronard. That one is close enough to get a jelly bean.
Proctalgia Gilf Cruiser, I think, would be a better name.
It is the
but-
G package.
Yeah, it's the G package. It's called the Pronard. I really want to import a Japanese market Avalon now, so I can say I drive a Pronard.
I want to hear.
With the G package.
This one's even got some bitchin' wheels on it too.
Yeah, check those fresh rims.
Those are nice. I want to see the ad for this, but I want to hear it narrated in Japanese by a Frenchman. So you have the Pronard.
Ici, c'est un Pronard 3.0 G package. Pronard.
All right, so
I speak French. so
right
try.
now we are
Oh.
2-1,
That's fair.
and then neither of you got the Yaris, so yeah, it's 2-1. And neither
Gilgamesh.
of you got the Paseo. Yeah, so it is 2-1. All right, the final one. This will make sure that this actually could create a tie, so hopefully it doesn't. But here we are.
It won't.
What is the
I'm bad
name?
at guessing this shit.
What is the name of the Toyota Camry Coupe? Again, way cooler than it has any sort of meaning to
94 to 96 or something else?
the Camry Coupe, the only
Is this-
Camry Coupe ever.
This is
94 to
different from a
96,
Solara.
Yes.
This is different from a Solara.
This is a 94 to 96 Camry two-door.
It is the it's a homologation race car.
Oh.
Yeah, it is actually a really cool name. I kind of want to get one more than I previously did.
Because of the name.
Yes.
I shall call it the Signet.
The Signet. You're gonna go with the Signet.
Yep.
All right.
I'm gonna do the what do you Aston Martin called
Yeah,
their Toyota.
the
so-
Revenge.
Very good point. Yeah.
Just gonna call it Toyota Fuego.
The Fuego.
Yeah.
It's just gonna call it by other
the
European
Fuego
car
Turbo.
names. It is actually called the Scepter.
Scepter
Yeah,
Coupe.
that's actually a rad name. Like, that's a cool name for a car. It's not really that cool.
I dig it.
It's got convertible.
Listen,
Ooh, I think
listen.
it's
Are we speaking ill of a
clean.
1MZ coupe?
It's
Let me
automatic.
see. I think it's an auto.
They're
Yeah,
good
it's an
automatics,
auto.
though.
No, they're not.
It's an automatic.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Does
However,
it have the
the OD?
The OD button?
Like,
To be
every
honest-
old Aisin transmission has that button.
Stupid
All right, so
Allison.
actually, to give this car credit where it's due, you can just bolt up a manual.
Yes, you can.
made
You
it as
can pull
easy
a
as-
Solara box. Actually, the Camry Coupe was sold here with an optional manual.
And what I think is actually kind of cool about it, leather seats, fully loaded, sunroof, like every single thing you could ever think
They're
of.
not just leather seats; they are ruched leather seats.
Yes, ruched leather seats.
Ruched inserts anyway.
We
looks
do
like.
It is.
performance Fords and Toyota seats.
Ruched performance.
If I ever become like an immigrant from America, I'm totally going to France. I'm making.
Rouge by Paris.
I'm making a French tuning company. I'm calling it Rouge.
We're not doing Eddie Bauer. We're doing Rouge Paris.
doing Rouge, and we're gonna tune Twingos. It's gonna be great.
Beautiful.
That's all you really need.
So actually, congratulations.
Yeah,
You won.
I've earned jelly beans.
You earned a French fry. It might be cold.
They're better that way.
There you go. You have the whole thing to yourself
there's
now.
more suffering.
There you go. Yay, Dylan.
I
thank
accept
you for
defeat.
coming on. Eric, you're
I
the
accept
beef-
gracious defeat.
You're the beef boy. That's
I don't know
you.
what that means, but
You're
okay.
the beef boy. You lost.
right.
So there we go. I think when we have guests, we should start doing more games like this because it's kind of fun.
That's fine.
And plus, I like finding weird trivia.
Yeah.
It's just really dumb trivia.
At least the trivia didn't contain pre-war stuff. That just makes me happy.
that's true,
There's
right?
plenty in this episode, but
There's plenty of also terrible names for cars. The Clugger and the Pronard.
in the G edition,
G edition.
that sounds like pronoun.
So I think
Don't worry, I'm just going to check your pronoun.
you know what I'm really bummed about actually is when like the Japanese like renaming your car to the Japanese trend was
Yes.
like popular. Everybody's like calling their Mazda 3 an Excella. And
What do you drive?
everybody's
I
like,
drive a Toyota Scepter.
yeah,
It's from '95.
yeah, like that'd be really cool. And
Yeah.
like then there'd be the people like their hand-me-down Solaras and like
I drive a Toyota gynecologist.
and they're Toyota Highlander, and they're like, "What do you drive?" And it's like, "I drive a Clugger."
Toyota Clugger.
A vehicle that does not work with is the Mitsubishi Montero. Because they were called Pajeros
Yeah,
everywhere
Pajeros,
else,
yes.
which in Spanish is a wanker, basically.
They should call it a Pajero Nova. That way you get to like
The wanker go.
Yeah.
The wanker no go.
Yep. Perfect.
There we go.
That way you get to excel in 2 languages at once.
Thank you for coming on to
Yes, thank you,
our
Dylan.
show. We were happy to have you. We're happy
Thank
to
you
have
for
your
having
car.
me.
You're welcome to stay for the next episode since
Sure.
you're already stuck up here in this Twin Cities. Thank you for leaving Mankato.
Yeah.
So
Happy to.
Jana was really bummed that she couldn't be here, but here we are. Anyway, so we will see you
Next week.
Next week. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.